we've got some Challenge Cup to talk about that is ongoing. The rounds and Browns keep rolling out for the Central, East, and West region in Challenge Cup. And though we've had a couple of rounds of the group stage play already, dating back to April 19th, I believe, when all of this kicked off. This week is just one headliner on the docket this week. We've got Washington Spirit, who will host Orlando Pride in an East region matchup. So this is exciting for a multitude of reasons, because if people are looking for some midweek soccer, this is the game. This is the game. The only game for Challenge Cup.
Yeah, this is a good game between these two. Honestly, the only game that we get kicks off tonight, 7:30 Eastern, between these two sides. And this is like the Eastern region, as you talked about, Washington Spirit hosting. So no travel, despite pretty quick turnarounds for these teams, right? To go from Sunday or Saturday when they played, and then right into Wednesday. But in terms of Challenge Cup and how the play has shaken out right now, Orlando got their first draw in Challenge Cup in the opening week when they played, and Washington lost in that opening week of games. That was against Gotham. So now, as they line up against Orlando, a team in Orlando Pride that has turned things around, right? Come out on the other side of things. They've put together some different pieces in the regular season and picked up wins and picked up points. But now when we head into this midweek action, sometimes we see on the availability report excused absences or players not available. And these availability reports are very light. Not a lot of players, just the injuries that we have actually already seen throughout the week, right? Like Julie Doyle, Carrie Lawrence for Orlando, Anna Helferty, Tori Huster, Bailey Feist. So the typical players that have been out for both of these clubs, which I'm not going to say concerns me a little bit, but in terms of player rotation and what we're going to see, I just don't think you play.
Yeah.
If you're Mark Parsons and you're looking at this game, you're looking to stay at the top in the regular season. So maybe that means players like Trinity Rodman, Ashley Hatch, Ashley Sanchez, Andy Sullivan in the midfield get a little bit of a break during this midweek. That way they're fresh and ready to go on the weekend. You're agreeing with me?
I do agree with you. I would look, just because I agree with you, I don't know if we're going to see that actually happen.
I know.
But, it's something to pay attention to, because when we're talking about like the momentum that both of these teams are probably carrying into a game like this, coming off of regular season wins just over the weekend. But now they're going head to head in Challenge Cup, and the standings and results in that look a little bit different, right? When we're looking at it region by region, Gotham on top of the East region standings right now, North Carolina, followed by Orlando Pride, and Washington Spirit are actually still looking for their first bit of Challenge Cup points. They've got 0 right now, and Orlando and fighting to try to keep a win, but end up dropping and settling for a draw in that opening match against North Carolina. But even them, right, with a point in the group standing so far. But we know with Washington Spirit, their availability report ahead of their first Challenge Cup included the absence of Trinity Rodman, which was an excused absence. And then we did see Andy Sullivan, get time in that first game against for Challenge Cup with Washington Spirit. And so I am curious if this is a game where we're still going to see Mark Parsons maybe start a couple of his typical starters, even though we've seen some coaches utilize Challenge Cup as opportunities to get in player rotation and stuff like that. So, I mean, I would love to see a Challenge Cup like Chloe Ricketts type of game.
Yes.
But I don't know if we'll see it in this one. If you're going up against an Orlando Pride side that's got a point over you in Challenge Cup standing, and with the quick turnaround. So I would like to see it, but I don't know if we will.
So I like that you say like a bit of Chloe Ricketts. And honestly, I think we could see a Ricketts maybe get a start. I would love Chloe Ricketts to get a start. That's the young 15-year-old that's gotten minutes in games in regular season with Washington Spirit. She subbed on in the second half and played pretty well. Like, so that's the thing. When you're looking at maybe these like second line of players or the second waves of substitutes that would maybe start in this Challenge Cup game, I think it would be a really good experience for Chloe Ricketts. And I don't think it would be a giant drop off in talent, right? Or skill by any means. Like she's incredibly talented. Now, it may be a bit of a drop off in like continuity. In what Washington's looking to do in their game plan, but frankly, like I think that we should see that. I want to see that. I want to see Chloe Ricketts start tonight in this game for Washington.
I think we like look, the teenagers are doing their thing in the league. They're
Mhm.
absolutely making an impact and letting their presence be felt. When it comes to players on the even younger side of that spectrum, whether
Yeah.
Ricketts or Barcenas, these are the 15-year-olds, right, within the league this year. But we haven't. We've typically seen these players kind of come off the bench in some of these regular season games and just sort of be tasked with kind of like, okay, get out there and get at it kind of
Yeah.
energy. And they do. And they have, and it's been delightful to watch. So I am curious, A, if this player gets time, but B, what does it look like? Is it going to be a start, and are we going to get to see Ricketts try to navigate a 45 minutes from the opening whistle through halftime, or is it going to be like maybe a halftime so we get to see again, an off the bench kind of scenario, and then close out a game. I'm good if we see either or. Um, I don't know. I don't know if these are the players that the coaches want to see 90 minutes from quite yet. But I would like to see maybe if we're like compromising, maybe a full 45, right?
Yeah.
Like for either of those players. But I think this is a good game to maybe utilize that. Maybe we could,
Right.
especially with like you mentioned the availability reports, and they're not necessarily ones that are perhaps as lengthy as they were for either side in the previous Challenge Cup round. For Orlando Pride, we're talking about new faces with the spirit that we'd like to get to see time. We know for the Pride that they are taking these steps right in this current era, and that includes a lot of new faces and new names. When it comes to players that you might like to see get a start for the Pride, are you leaning on one player that you want to see get extended minutes in this one?
Yeah, I think that with Orlando and like kind of the points they've picked up and the run that they've been on most recently, I honestly I don't think we're gonna see too much shakeup from what's happening here. I've been really impressed with Viviana Villacorta in the midfield for Seb Hines and what she's been able to do. I want to see a bit more growth from that player. And maybe that comes in this midweek during the Challenge Cup game for a Villacorta, but she's been getting a lot of really consistent minutes. Like she's been playing 90 in the midfield. So that's not, I know you asked, like, is there anyone else I would want to see? Maybe an Allie Watt, right? Like we've seen Watt come in off the bench in the front line for Seb Hines and Orlando Pride. I think I'd like to see her get maybe a start or a little bit more consistent minutes. She would see what she can do up top because we know Messiah Bright has really found her groove there. But frankly, I just don't think we're going to see too much shakeup from Orlando at this point. I think they want to continue to pick up wins and ride this train of momentum. And in speaking with Seb Hines last year, and at the end of last year when he took over, and maybe his mindset has changed a little bit for this year, but he wanted his team to be really fit. He wanted them to be able to play multiple games in a week and be able to run for 90 minutes and play tough for 90 minutes. He started doing 2 days with them when he came in last year. So I just don't think his mindset is like, hey, let's take a break during this midweek. I think it's kind of like go, go, go. Let's pick up points. This is good running and training for his team and his players. So I think we'll see pretty consistent lineup from Seb Hines and Orlando Pride.
Okay. Do you think like this is there if there's room in a game like this to continue to see like more rotation of the goalkeeper position, because that's definitely an area where we've seen between kind of Morehouse and Nelson at this point. Nelson got a shot in that first Challenge Cup game
Yep.
with Orlando Pride in against North Carolina Courage, and had a really good showing. Like is this gonna go is Hines gonna go back to Nelson for Challenge Cup?
Yeah, I could see that happening, honestly, because I think Anna Morehouse has done really well. Um, I do in those regular season games, but it's always good to keep developing your goalkeepers. So yeah, maybe we get to see Carly Nelson in goal between the sticks for Orlando. I would like that. I would appreciate seeing that one.
Okay, so we're chatting a little bit about players we'd like to see get tabbed with a star rotation that we'd like to see in different positions on the pitch. Let's let's make a little prediction. Let's have some fun. That's why the people are here. They
Yes.
want to see which way we're tipping or leaning towards. When you're looking at these two teams going head to head, we mentioned coming off of wins in the regular season. They're both carrying some momentum in their Washington Spirit. They're going to play the host in this one. Is that tip in your hat? One way or the other. Who do you got in this one and why?
This is a good one. I know this is why we're here. This is what we do. But for me, I'm gonna give it to Orlando Pride. I
I
want
love
them
that.
to get another win in this one. They're coming off back-to-back regular season wins. They picked up a draw in the first Challenge Cup game. And Washington, I think they're gonna focus a little bit more on the regular season at this point. So we're
Okay.
gonna see a bit more rotation. I want to see Chloe Ricketts get the start for Washington, but I think Orlando is going to come out their strongest lineup that they can. Maybe a bit of rotation in the goalkeeper position, but I'm going to go with Orlando. Not a draw, a win for Orlando Pride. 3 points in the Challenge Cup.
I love it. I like the energy.
Mhm.
Look, they're on a win streak. Two wins in a row. That's a streak.
That
For
is.
the Orlando Pride. And I thought, listen, I thought Challenge Cup was perhaps the catalyst, and kind of maybe turning things, that turning that corner for Orlando Pride to finally try to string together some results this year. So I like it. But I think with the quick turnaround and the availability
Mhm.
reports and the possibility of what we might see for Washington Spirit, even if it's like split 45-minute halves with personnel involved
Right.
in Ashley Sanchez or Trinity Broadman, etc. I just think there's more there, and I'm gonna go with the Spirit in this one. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll be one of these wild high score lines that we have apparently been seeing
Yeah.
on the regular week to week here in the regular season. But I don't. I think it'll be maybe narrow, but I think I'm gonna give the win to the Spirit in this one.
I like that. I like that you're going that. We're split. I'm Pride, your Spirit. We'll see what happens in the midweek.